Hello there, anybody, everybody that possibly comes in. As you can see, I'm not using StreamYard right now. I used the free version, and I've only got probably one more video left on the 20 hours that they give you per month. So I'm just going to be using the regular YouTube Live encoder. In the studio, so I won't probably be there won't be any invite links for anyone to come in and chat, or for any Gang Stalker trolls to come in and say some racist crap or whatever they want to do, because I give people the benefit of the doubt when they say they're going to do something, and say, oh yeah, I'm a target, and I'm going to talk about things really, and I'm going to respect people and blah blah blah. But then they pull some crap like some porn pics or whatever, or say some racist crap. So you aren't going to have to worry about that happening this time. Mainly the topic I want to touch on today is deepfakes, intellectual property theft, and identity theft, slander, basically, and the perpetration thereof by gang stalkers, how they will impersonate you or deep fake you on stream, in private, in invited chat rooms or whatever, and the ways you might be able to protect yourself. I was watching someone else's videos, and they're having trouble being able to upload and get anything of their videos to come up and be uploaded on YouTube, because they're getting denial of service or whatever, suppression, and according to them by gang stalkers, which I don't doubt it, because I've had issues where I know somehow they have access to mine, even though I've taken steps to where I don't even have a knowledge of my password myself, let alone how they could get it, because I let Google control all that. And if I have an issue with it, I just go through those steps again, and I'm probably going to end up doing that again here pretty soon, because they've been able to hide my comments, and even on my own channel, not only comments that I'll comment to other people, but whereas early on they were impersonating me on other people's programs, and probably in chats, but I haven't I haven't done a deep dive and went and looked for all the places where they might have done that, because I don't frequent the places where I used to go, where they would have a history of me to go and disseminate misinformation about me to those people on those channels using my screen name or my identity or whatever. But what I do know they're doing is which they've done it before on Zoom, let's say, even though I've never had a Zoom account, impersonating me on Zoom. And I uninstalled Discord because I was feeling threatened in there by the same kind of behavior um, that was probably happening, and I just haven't reinstalled it, and I don't plan to because um, I play a video game right now called Mech Warrior Online. I've been playing it for years, and I I had quit playing it for a while when my internet was off and my computer was hacked and all that, whatever. And when I finally got back on, and I finally was able to get into my Steam account and dictate to Steam that um, the only computer that would be connecting to the Steam account would be the one that I'm on right here. After I was fairly certain that I had control over it, even though when you, let's say, you try to go in your BIOS on your computer, you have to enter a password as the administrator. I'm unable to do that because they were able to get into my administrative access on my BIOS and change the password because I never entered a password, so it would be default. You would just click enter. So the only way that is not going to work is if there was a password entered that you can't remember, and I never inputted a password, so it should have been default. It would be just you click enter. There's no you don't put a password and you just go in there. And I got in touch with Microsoft, and the only way they can fix that is by you packing up your PC and sending it to them, and then they would take care of it there. Well, I don't really have the money or the inclination to send it there, and have them do that and be without it for a month or however long it's going to take them to do it. So I've done other things to where I keep my password from myself and anyone else by not knowing it myself. There's no way that they can glean it from me using remote neural monitoring or any type of keylogger, because I don't use the keys. I use a random password generator and don't look at it, copy and paste it into whatever application or whatever website I'm using, and I let Google remember it. And if it should ever be corrupted or whatever, I'll just do that again. But as I've said in other videos, and showed evidence of it, the ability they have to create a fake false profile about you on certain types of websites that are governed by been verified, and that you, as let's say the venue of Radaris, I've called them and I wanted them to remove it. You aren't allowed to do that unless you give them the address or whatever that it was created on, and and such. And I didn't know which one because I didn't create the profiles, and some of the other information, so I wasn't able to delete it or get it altered, whatever, to the proper information. So there it is on Radaris. You can look it up. But I've also had where you do like People Looker or whatever, or My Life, dividuals.com, where you can look up people's public records. Um, I had just recently five people look up my public records. I don't have any on there. I think I have an eviction from like 20 some years ago, from when I was living in Long Beach, and uh, and I might have a court record of a parking ticket I had that I went to court over, where I pretty much beat that, but they still gave me the ticket. Um, was in court, and and we were the RV which we live in. Well, we were driving around and parking in Walmart parking lots because you're allowed to park in Walmart parking lots. I don't know if you're still able to, but this parking lot in Huntington Beach, um, the Walmart parking lot there, and according to them, that Walmart parking lot is not actually owned by Walmart. It's owned by the city. But they had no idea that you were allowed to park in Walmart parking lots. And I said, well, Walmart allows people to park there. And they're like, oh, we hadn't known that. I said, well, you can look it up. It's on the website. And one of the prosecutors or whoever was there, one of the court officials, was looking it up on the internet, and he says, yep, he's right. Um, they're allowed to park there. Walmart gives them open-ended overnight parking. And the judge was like, oh, really? Wow. Well, then he realized, he says, well, even admitting that parking lot necessarily is not owned by Walmart. There was owned by the city. So in that particular Walmart, that that open invitation, you know, is kind of nulled. But he then went on to say that, okay, well, I'm gonna, you know, give you the ticket, but we're gonna re- we're, without having the other issues that might go along with it, do with other fees. We're going to forego the court costs and all that shit. All you're going to have to do is pay the ticket. Otherwise, it would have been like $1,000, where it ended up only being the ticket, which was 400 and something. Because I was telling the truth, and they did have it on the website. But that's probably all you're going to ever find on me. In Downey, California, that's would be the general court system area. You won't find anything about me in a court for the last 30 years. So those are probably the two things that are on my record. Now, getting that and discerning those facts about my history. These gang stalkers like Ian and Rhonda, my neighbors here, that are going around calling me a murderer, a rapist, and this other crap, and this little bastard is saying that I have a nuclear weapon. And impersonating me to do it, saying that I'm on a chat with them, using some deep fake program to show me and use my voice and imply that I'm always in this chat with them, which I'd never been in any kind of chat with them at all, and I never would. On a continuous basis, and they like to do it generally while you're asleep, because then even though they're using the B2K to proliferate a lot of the crap and the talk and the remote neural monitoring aspect, they'll manipulate what you're supposed to have said, because they are spying on you. They're listening to everything you say, everything you do. and they use that and distort it and take it out of context to present, their narrative of you being a horrible person, or like they say, I'm a murderer and this and other crap. Well, I've never been convicted of a felony, never had a felony, had some misdemeanors when I was younger, but I I, I went to um, reform school once or twice, and I did my thing. I I served my months or whatever when I was a young kid. Well, the way these sick fucks are, if they find anything about you that in your history using remote neural monitoring and whatever the hell they're getting from you, will manipulate everything and to turn you into a pedo, a murderer, whatever they want to paint you as, because with their deep fake shit, they can make it appear as that you've done many horrible things. As if on video or like first person uh, view, like, when you're looking at a porn and the guy's getting after it with somebody, that kind of view. It looks like you're holding a camera. Well, obviously, I don't walk around with a camera on my forehead, a GoPro 24 hours a day. I don't even own a GoPro, and they've said some crazy crap like, I've got cameras in my eyes and in my glasses, or the ridiculous stuff that these, for lack of a better term, um, brain damaged degenerates purvey to people, using these narratives to impersonate you or um, quantify you. Hello, Zeth. How are you? Anything wrong they deep fake and promote online in their little watch list, notification list. We'll see uh, about that notification list. They use websites. I found one where they've taken one of my videos that only has a certain amount of views right here on YouTube and copied it and put it on another page where it got 2.6 million views on an invite only page, because I tried to look at it and you can't go in there. I couldn't get in there. And obviously using Norton. It was one of my of the pages that come up that has the little orange circle with a exclamation saying that may contain malicious content. Well, I forego that just to get in there, and it won't come up. But I do have the link. I provided the link, which talks about my V2K short, and it has my name, and then it has the little YouTube icon saying it had 2.6 million views on whatever uh, channel they copied and posted my intellectual property on. My personal intellectual property, mine. I made the video. I made the recording, but they recorded it, copied it, and posted it somewhere else and got 2.6 million views off of my coattails as the Gang Stalkers. So what you have to keep in mind and understand is that's probably a part of the ways that they, profit from you, one of the other ways, by stealing your hard work, right? And presenting it as their own, like they do with me and my artwork and my music, and now apparently my videos. reason I say I understand and I know that they're doing that with my intellectual property via my music and my artwork is I've already spoke about how they stole my comic book idea right here on YouTube. Um, and I have other testimonial from people who came in the chat talking about a song that I was making up while I was walking around Winco grocery store here in Lakewood, where I frequent pretty much everywhere. That's where I go to get my groceries at. And I was singing a song in my out loud called Perp World. I just suck in Perp World, Gang Stalker, bullshit talker, even grandma with her walker, cause it's a perp world. And one of the viewers that came in here and chat, um, I'm not going to mention their names. You can go back and look if you want, but was talking about she was humming the song, and her daughter said to her, "What's that?" And she says, "Oh, I don't know," and I don't know, and but she was humming it because she'd heard it. And then another one told me that he saw it on someone else's channel, or heard it on another YouTube channel. The song that I had made up, just flippantly singing while I was walking through Winco, and while I was singing it, I heard people laughing about it, and I heard other people saying "Perp World," while I was singing this song in Winco. And uh, so if you understand the premise of the Truman Show, that's basically what they sort of do to you. It's like you're a Truman Show, and they're watching everywhere you go, everywhere you see, everybody you talk to, and a lot of them that you do talk to are fakes. Actors, paid actors to harass you, stress you out, whatever, do their thing, do the directed conversations and that. So that goes along with the theft of intellectual property and the impersonation. Now, I've had other issues where my identity has been compromised, and I just received another email from Google that my passwords on an app or whatever that I use, which I don't use any apps really that much, except for I use BlueStacks to play video games on the computer. Is the only apps I use. Was found in a data breach. So they recommended I go change passwords. I just haven't done it yet. But going back, linking that with the person whose videos I was just watching, how he's having denial of service, and they're piggybacking off of his internet to do their broadcasts or whatever, their streams, which it stands to reason, because if they're able to access all your accounts like he says and like I've said, and even impersonate you on these accounts, they would be able to use them to use your service like it was their own. And present this information on the internet. Now, that goes in to the other aspect of the gang stalking, the deep fake. Or like I was saying, as they're watching you and as they're showing the first person view from you, Um, they will also deep fake you and impersonate you on their stream and say, "Oh, I'm Scotty Schmear," or you, or whoever you are, which they do to me every day. Um, that like I'm on the chat with them or in a stream or something with them, which I've never been and don't have to be, because you don't have to be, because they're imitating you. They're using voice modulation technology and whatever uh, fake face or whatever they're using to cover their face while they're pretending to be you. Like they have the technology where you could have, say, any person, like let's say me, and have Bush's face over mine, and you can't tell. You know what I mean? Where it'd be George W. Bush that'd be talking, and you'd see George W. Bush, but it's someone else because they're using their voice and their likeness. But that's just coming back from more of my research. Like I said, I do a lot of research. I've been doing a shit ton of research about a lot of things that have to do with this on the technology side. Um, when you talk about B2K, I have to stress that audio spotlight or hypersonic sound waves in a linear bass have been around for a long time. You can look at the TED Talks about, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a TED Talks about it that I've said it before. You can look it up. And he's got like a panel, looks like a little solar panel. It's like 12 by 12 square, and he's holding it out like this, pointing it at the crowd, saying, you know, if you haven't heard it, let me know, and I'll point it your way. And everybody else in the whole place can't hear shit, but if it's pointed at you, you'll hear it. That's why they call it audio spotlight, because you're the focus. V2K is different, but the similar, because it's a frequency that you can hear it everywhere you go, but you're being focused on with it. You're the target of it. But I'm understanding that it's all the people that are involved in it can hear you, are able to speak, and without speaking to each other, kind of like synthetic telepathy. It's kind of like telepathy, but it's synthetic. It's generated through the broadcast, and they're able to talk to each other and to keep you out of the loop, only to where you'll hear a certain one or two of them, and they'll hear what you're thinking. And that's how that works. But as you've heard on some of my recordings, it sounds like several people. There's a couple two or three voices that are prominent, like Ian's and Michael's, but there's other voices that are of people that I know in this area right here that are on the same frequency and in the same broadcast talking to each other, but it overlaps. So you would have to have uh, a voice separation equipment to break those, you know, to to identify those separate voices and put them in their own block to hear exactly what they're saying, because it's like a crowd. When you're in a crowded room, you hear a jumble of voices because everybody's sound waves are intermingling over each other, and you can't pick all of the complete speech out. without separating the voices. There's technology to do that. I haven't bothered looking it up yet. I imagine it's probably either I could find one free, but I haven't bothered. I'll probably look it up and try and do that one of these days. But I did, however, look up, as I'm always saying, about my videos and my testimony and all the information that I provide to you, to use a voice stress analyzer or facial recognition on me, to, you know, on me personally, to verify for yourself that I am being forthcoming and truthful. I'm not trying to provide disinformation. I'm only providing the facts that as I understand them and I have researched them. You can get free voice stress analyzers, which are a lie detector, and they're pretty damn accurate. Um, um, but going back to the topic of deep fake, um, the deep fake premise is fairly rampant right now. People are creating, fake information, um, impersonating people to, you know, demean them just for fun. It seems like in a lot of places. That's why they're having an issue with information sometimes, because somebody's deep faking, you know, um, you know, Anderson Cooper or whatever, or whatever, faking, making fakes, you know, and that's what's happening here. These people are deep faking people and slandering them and perpetrating ruination on their credibility and on their lives, and just outright making up lies and distorting everything. That's what they're doing to targets. There's disinformation out there about targeted individuals and what's happening. I I did some research on the ability to use the person that is being the target as an antenna transmitter receiver without implants, because your body is already an effective antenna without implants. Since a fair portion of the carbon in your body is heavy metals such as iron, magnesium, zinc, and iron and magnesium are very effective for antennas. Um, when you have an antenna on your car, uh, the the antenna itself is, like chromiumed, right? Covered with chrome, but the antenna itself is a blend of uh, nickel, cadmium, iron to to make an alloy, to make the little tubes so that your antenna works. And these are really effective as antenna materials, and your body's full of it. Um, And as I was talking about, is that every person has their own EMF frequency that your brain is emitting all the time. Your body's emitting uh, infrared thermal radiation, which can be gathered, and your EKG and your EEG information from your nervous system via an electromagnetic field that's already being emitted from your body. I'm not going to go back and look at it and read the technical terms again. I did that last night. And that was, you know, not my words so much. It was my words in a summary, but the technical terms were written by scientists and people with, articles. But back to the one of the topics I was hitting on is about the impersonation and the theft of your intellectual property. Now, this contends to remote neural monitoring, as they're seeing what you're thinking, your thoughts, you're formulating your thoughts, and having ideas. Every idea you're having, right? Every thought that you have, right, is your own intellectual property. Every sentence you form is intellectual property. Every picture you picture in your mind is intellectual property. Now, I'm not going into the fact of, let's say you put down on paper an invention you had, like I have, or music you've written, even in your head, not a finished product, the idea, or some artwork, or a book idea, or a comic idea, right? That's intellectual property, and that's what they're stealing. Your history, things that are personal to you that you remember that are private for you, that's your intellectual property. That's your own property. That's personal to you. That's a civil rights violation. It's a human rights violation. It's torture. It's terrorism. It's blatant theft. And when they manipulate that and distort those out of context, or add or remove from it, such as they've done to me, that's slander. There's a bunch of laws I could go through. I can go and research and look all the laws up that would constitute, and the actual criminal prosecution codes that would probably go along with it would be a long list of codes to go along with it. And that doesn't even include the threats, the harassment, the surveillance. And I'm not even going into the surveillance if they're actually, gonna go into it. The looking into your thoughts, watching what you're doing every day, invading your privacy in your home. As I've said before, and you can look this up, the police, let's say the police, when they have reasonable doubt about someone, or have an idea that this person might be perpetrating criminal acts. They have to go to a judge, and get a warrant to perform surveillance, right? They have to do this. They're supposed to legally. And when they do that, the judge will give them a warrant for 3 months. 3 months. Now, at the end of the 3 months, they don't find anything that's, really concrete. If they still have something that it looks fishy, he'll give them another 3 months. If they don't, he won't give it to them again. They have to have some sort of evidence to back up the legitimacy of the surveillance. At the end of that 6 months, if they don't have enough, they're not getting it again. They're not going to give them an open-ended surveillance like these assholes do to people. I mean, I personally have been targeted and surveyed over 3 years. No law enforcement agency is ever going to get a warrant to harass and terrorize and survey somebody for fucking 3 years. Nobody. You can look that shit up yourself. So, as a target, if they were legally sanctioned to covertly spy on you for an amount of time, if they haven't done something in 6 months or found something, they're not going to be able to do it anymore. No judge, no self-respecting judge is going to give them any more time, because it's a waste of money, it's a waste of manpower, it's a fucking it's it's a civil rights issue, and they're not going to do it. So it's obvious these people, they tell you, oh, that people tell you that these people are part of the government or whatever. They're full of shit, because they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that, because they know that if they get caught, they're going to be screwed. They're not going to do it and keep trying to get away with it. Now, if you're put on a person of interest list, like you're a terrorist, there might be extenuating circumstances that they'll give it to you, until you catch them doing something, but not bloody likely. Now, you can read this shit yourself. You can look it up yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. I mean, you have a computer. You're on the computer right now, obviously, because you're watching me. You can Google this shit for yourself. And look at actual litigation papers of your own and the laws against stalking. Now, granted, there hasn't been a precedent set, really, against gang stalkers. The act of gang stalking, community stalking, organized stalking. But there has been litigation regarding Havana syndrome, which sooner or later is going to fall under the umbrella term of gang stalking, because its symptoms and its behavior is synonymous with that of gang stalkers. I'm going to look up some more of that about what litigation it was. I just watched a video that my wife showed me to look at that had something to do with Havana syndrome and talking about Havana syndrome. I'll look into that and I'll have something more for you later. But right now I'm not. I haven't dug. But anymore, even though I know I'm being followed, spied on, harassed, threatened, blah blah blah, I'm spending 80% of my time sitting here trying to find more information, more facts, sift through the bullshit, the theories, to get to the facts about what's going on with targeted individuals and gang stalking in this worldwide epidemic of terror criminal syndicate organizations. There's some stuff going around that it's socialists. Well, then that means all your neighbors are socialists, because it's your neighbors that are participating in this shit, the people living right around you. So I'm not of the opinion of that. But back to the topic of deep faking. The dark web, deep web, whatever, is really to blame for a lot of the proliferation of your information. Any birth certificate information, ID information, phone numbers, addresses, blah blah blah. They're selling that shit. They sell that shit on the dark web. I personally, I don't go to the dark web. I've never been there. I don't want to go there because that's not something I'm interested in. I'm not interested in being a criminal, because that's basically who inhabit the dark web. But that's probably a lot of where this deep fake crap goes around. I don't go to sites that come up as something that says malicious content on my computer. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to even click it. I'm not going to look at it. The only reason I looked at that one video about that, the one link that had my video on it, was because it literally had the name of my video and my name attached to 2.6 million 1,421 people viewing it, where I only had 27 on my YouTube page. So that gave me a inclination to understand that they've been stealing my information and my intellectual property and posting it somewhere else. But I'm absolutely certain my neighbor here is part of my deep fake, and the other neighbor over here is part of it, because I've confronted them in person about my gang stalk, about stalking me and harassing me. I went to his fucking gate and said, dude, you need to cut this shit out. And then there's another time he came out saying, hey, let's finish this. He had a hatchet. I didn't have nothing, but I went out there and confronted his ass. And then I called the police about it, but I didn't have the police come out because I'm not afraid of these assholes. They think they're inciting fear, but they're fucking with the wrong guy here. But anyway, just like with the people that have came in here threatening me to take my videos down, or they're gonna burn my house down or do whatever, or come in here and troll me and shit. Whatever. Whatever. But I'm gonna go back to the topic of electronic harassment, which is V2K, remote neural monitoring. As I've shown in the past in several videos, even right in front of you, recorded the V2K right in front of you, right here on this on the platform in real time, on a couple videos. Granted, it was only a 1 or 2 minute recording, but the people speaking are on it. And there, he just pounded on the wall like that bothers me or something. But anyway, what's really got on my nerves the last couple days, and I'm going to continue talking about it, is him saying to people that I have a nuclear weapon. Now, granted, I'm not an idiot. I've been to school. I'm not stupid. I spend a lot of time thinking. But like I said, I'm not building a nuclear bomb out of a coffee can in my bathroom. And I'm not a murderer. I'm not a rapist. I'm not a thief. I'm not a terrorist. But these people are actually killing people over time. There have been many of them. They're mentally raping people. I'm one of them. They're thieves. They're stealing from people. I'm one that they're stealing from. They're slandering people. I'm one they're slandering. So it's projection. The scum, this group of shitty people, organized, crappy people, single you out and pull out all the stops to ruin your life, no matter how they can. There's no boundaries. So that goes along with the electronic harassment and gang stalking. I've hit on all the topics that I lined out. I didn't really go deep into any information in this video, but if you're really interested in the information, you can go back through my videos and do like I said, get you a voice stress analyzer. And when you're watching videos, right? And you're watching videos and your bullshit detector goes off, turn that motherfucker on and make sure they're not lying to you. Have a good night.